Meeting of the Board of Trustees. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Trustee Gray. Here. Trustee Solichak.
Here.
Trustee Tiberio.
Here.
Trustee Rizzo.
Here.
Mayor Gifford.
Here. Do we have anybody who wishes to be here for privilege of the floor? Don't have anybody. Seeing none, we'll close privilege of the floor. Item number 4. The resolution. Okay, so we're talking about the feasibility study. Is Dennis here? Dennis. Would you like to come up and introduce yourself and tell the trustees what we're talking about now?
Sure.
So, what?
Good evening. I'm Dennis Ross. I am Vice President and shareholder with H2M Architects and Engineers.
So, as an explanation to the audience here, we've had a 6-month process of a citizens committee recommending what to do with our village hall and our fire department. The recommendation of the committee was to build a freestanding fire station and renovate this building for village and police use. We have interviewed a dozen or so engineering architecture firms. The subcommittee has recommended that Dennis's firm be chosen, and he'll give us a presentation of what they propose to do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone on the board and those of you in the public. Again, I'm Dennis Ross. I'm the Vice President with H2M Architects and Engineers. We're happy to take the opportunity to answer the request for proposal. There were certain specific services that were asked for that we are going to provide, and I'm going to run you through those very quickly. Also, just to give you a little history on our firm, we've been in business for 85 years. We've probably worked on over 350 fire and police facilities all over New York State, the Northeast, and quite frankly, North America. So we have a little bit of experience in this.
You've been there the whole 85 years?
Yes. Do I look it? Absolutely. So what we're going to do is a couple of things for the fire station and for this building. First off, the fire station needs to get out of this building. In order to do that, they need a site. The village has 5 sites that are possibilities for the fire station to be relocated on. We're going to look at those in terms of a 2-stage matrix, which we have invented and used on numerous fire and police facilities over the years. Basically, it looks at the site in 2 ways. First, all sites have certain things in common. They have size, they have shape, they have contours, they either do or don't have utilities. All sites have that. We're going to rank them according to each other on the 5 sites for those criteria. Once we do that ranking, we carry it over and we look at how the site would react as a specific site for emergency response, return, first responders going to it, access, safety, and some other factors we look at. We come up with a ranking. We'll probably look at the best 2 sites, offer them to the village, and then pick one and do some test layouts on it to see that the station will fit. So how do we know what that station is? We do what's called programming. We meet with the fire department, officials from the village, and we do what's called an operations-based program. What that is we're trying to figure out what are the current needs, what are the future needs of the fire department, what are the current trends, how are we going to manage safety, health, gender equity, and all those things, and look at the program and tell us room by room, what do you need? You need decon, you obviously need apparatus space, offices, bunks now, bunks in the future, et cetera, et cetera. And from that analysis, we'll size the building, and because we now have a scope, which is the program, a size, we can take what we call a test fit and put those test fits on the sites and see how they work. They're either going to work or not work, or they may work sort of but not well. There may be certain things that cause additional costs. For example, if we have a site doing this, or it has extreme wetlands or drainage problems, and we try to put apparatus base there, it might cause the village to have to spend more money. So with the test fit, we're going to be doing budgeting. So we're going to look at the potential cost of what that may be. So that's the fire station side. On the village side, we're going to come in, we're going to measure this building, and then assume that without a fire station in it, we're going to take this building, obviously, take a look at it and see what walls we can move, can we expand it, can we make this building more efficient for the village and the police, all right? That's part two. And as part two, we'll do again, some test fits, some layouts, some floor plans, and once the village looks at those plans and agrees to them, we can do some 3D renderings to view the public and see what it looks like. And again, do some budgeting. What will that cost? What we have been asked to do is, in addition to that, is do some basic community awareness and community support, where we're going to take this project, take the steps that we're going through, present it to you, the community, so that you understand what the village is doing, what some of the potential costs might be. And again, this is all very conceptual. This is not a final cost, it's not a final design. Those steps still need to come. The mayor has asked me if those steps could happen within the next year, and the answer is definitely yes. This whole study should be done easily by July. Have the information back to the council, they can start making decisions. Is it the right site? Can they fit it into their budget for next year? And as they move forward, if they're pleased with our work, hopefully they would re-engage us, and then we would take it the next couple of steps. So the next couple of steps, at some point in the future, would be what we call schematic design. That's more hard design with floor plans, dimensions, windows, doors. That we can get a hard estimate on, again, for both projects. And once we get that hard estimate, we could hopefully join forces with one of our competitors, Huber Brewer out of Syracuse, and then offer up more services to, again, engage you, the public, and get this thing to get community support and actually go to referendum. That should be it in a nutshell. I don't want to take up too much of your time. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Anyone?
I just want to say thank you
Oh, you're most welcome.
for working with us to do this. So thank you.
Oh, I look forward to it. Thanks very much. I can be reached anytime. As Mayor well knows, Andrew well knows that I can be reached easily. And if you have any questions, give me a holler, send me an email, and I'll answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so can we have a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign a contract to complete a feasibility study for a new firehouse and renovation of the existing municipal building with H2M Architects and Engineers.
I'll make that motion.
I will second that motion.
Call the roll?
Trustee Gray. Yes. Trustee Solichak.
Yes.
Trustee Tavera.
Yes.
Trustee Rizzo.
Yes.
Yes, please. Thank you. Okay, item 5. We have a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign agreement modification with Prime AE for pump station force main.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6, we have a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Chazen Companies for an environmental review for the community development block grant, curb ramp project. Now that's coming out of it's not coming out of village, so that's, what was the
The
fund?
community development block.
Big. The community, the amount not to exceed, is it $2,000? Not to exceed $2,000.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 7 is, we have a resolution to approve volunteer firefighter Marion M. Martin.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 8, mayor's comments to the board. So we got a few things. We had a meeting this morning. We've got 3 proposals for garage door for the fire station. We had a meeting this morning with a company who does garage doors that fold sideways instead of up and down. It was a fascinating proposal. It cost about 10 times what the other does, and it wouldn't work for our station, but it was great. We were listening to it and decided we were about done. So he would like to try to sell it to us for the new station. I doubt that'll work either, but anyway. We still need to work on doing that. The door is not closing all the way anymore. I hate the thought of spending money on that, but I talked to the company today. Was it Albany Overhead Door, something like that? He's going to send me a more exact estimate, but he thinks it would cost about half as much as a new door to fix the one we've got, so that it'll last the rest of the year. I kind of doubt if it's worth that, but I'll let you know in the next couple of days. We had a meeting at the Flint House today with our friendly neighborhood chimney sweep. The historian wanted to know if it was possible to light a fire in the fireplace. He tells us it's not, because the flue tiles have shifted. And he also says that the chimney that the furnace empties into is not any good either. He's saying that they have, he's a member of the Association of Chimney Sweeps somehow, and that that they may be willing to volunteer their services for a house like, a historic house like this, and use it as a class. So that's in the process too. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But Flint House needs a lot of help in a lot of ways. We don't have the money to do it. So I'll keep you posted with that. We talked about, I talked with Chris Ketzley about the, connecting the bike trail between Freeman's Bridge and Shawnees. Andrew is getting me a ballpark price for that, but they seem to be interested and willing to help. Whether they'll come up with any money for it, it remains to be seen. But we all want to do that project this year. We had a meeting last night with the parade committee. We had the Spectrum News here taking pictures, and it was it went very well. Chris volunteered to co-chair. Joe Talbot volunteered to co-chair with Chris. We had maybe 20 people here, and they all signed up for various aspects of it. It was done in 15 or 20 minutes. Everybody was happy. So I think we're doing all right. I think that's my report. Departmental reports? Oh, I'm sorry, correspondence, liaison, special committee. Huh?
We had a bid meeting earlier this week, and we had Becky from Discover Schenectady come in and give the business owners some great pieces of advice. A passport program we're actually thinking of starting here in the village, and we're really interested in it. We also came away with a list of probably half a dozen or more building owners in the Mohawk Avenue area that are interested in talking with Metroplex about doing some facade improvements. So it's really good to see to spruce up our main street here. And then we finally finished up our citizens committee. It was good to see it, our choice with Dennis. Dennis, thank you for the great meeting we had. And thank you to the committee that came out, most of you guys that came out here tonight to see us actually follow through and do this. I'm looking forward to see what we come up with, and I thank you guys so much for the time and input that you guys put in. That's all I have.
Okay, Joe.
All right, you touched base on the Memorial Day parade. It looks like we're working very good on that. Hope everybody does what they're supposed to. We'll get that parade off and running.
Yep.
The car show, we're having a meeting, I think tomorrow night. We're starting to get that off the ground for that. And we're starting to put our group together again with John T. And we're going to start working on that, getting that set up and ready to go. That's all I have.
Good. Heather?
Hi, good evening. I did speak with Andrew today, and the latter part of February, and the village has a new leaf machine which is going to be available in the fall. And it's being stored.
Well, it's available now, you just can't.
We don't have any leaves. Also, I spoke with Maria. The village has the water and sewer portal. That's a terrific addition to our website. It seems like everyone is reporting back that they really like that. This started with the February billing. I also learned that if you are registered on this portal, it looks like you can receive information every 40 days with regards to any problems or any leaks, and then that should be reportable back to DPW. I'm sure Andrew will help out anybody with any difficulties with that. Next Wednesday, the town of Glenville will be having a meeting. I will be at that meeting, and I will report back to the board after that with regards to any updates, perhaps on the bike path that the mayor mentioned. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, George?
Busy month again, strangely enough. Lots of talk about numbers and parking. The project I've been working on as far as communications consolidation, I'm just trying to find a way to consolidate and reduce the number of vendors and bills that we deal with as a village. Still ongoing. I got my first proposal back from one of the vendors. One of the vendors is actually that I'm discussing with is actually my day job, so I will probably recuse myself from any comment on that. Just present to the board what what they can do. I don't foresee them being a very viable cost option for the amount of construction that needs to be done. So that's still working on, probably have more of a numbers report, you know, it really is just a kind of a, how much it would cost to do this rather than what we're doing now. We had a planning board meeting this month recently. Hometown Pub and Grub is expanding, business is good, so that's great to see. Local business owner expanding their business and really investing in the village. We also discussed a little bit about there is some FCC legislation that's coming in for small cell sites. We had, as a village, presented to us late last year, beginning of this year, a small cell tower, which is just basically a collector of service to distribute it to the wide area. That's going to be installed in National Grid property in Washington Avenue, but there is some legislation coming through from those vendors to kind of form a little bit of a relationship before they even come to us, so that was a topic of discussion as well. At one of our work sessions, we agreed to work with the county on a solar consortium that has a good opportunity to save us some costs on our energy costs moving forward within the net, you know, as they're working as a county to build solar collectors and then redistribute some of the savings back to the municipalities within the county. I also attended a summit, a conference on the state's proposed legislation for legalization of cannabis. There's a lot of information that can be had if you just want to go look at it. Some of the comments I saw just from the past couple of days, this might not be something we have to worry about this year, but there is so much more information that can be had. There was even some things that I learned. It's not really just a fact of whether it's going to be legal or not, it's how it affects our village. We really need to be cognizant of how our fire chief and our police chief deal with those situations that they have regarding any of that being out there to be available. We have to give our chief of police the tools to effectively field test for ability impaired. All of those things are not in place yet, and I certainly plan to be informed on that process moving forward so that I could be a resource for the residents as far as knowledge is concerned when it comes to that.
Is this the same way you test different beers, or they, you know?
No, well, a lot of the legislation, it's funny you say that, a lot of legislation is based off the current ABC laws, and that boils all the way down to employee and, you know, employer relationships. They're trying to do that, but if you don't physically have a test method, you can't really enforce those laws that are in place. So it's very interesting because it is something that has many facets to it, and you know, I was very happy to be involved and listen to it so that I can educate myself and in turn, you know, be a resource for the village. So.
Thank you.
And one more thing, I want to thank Trustee Tiberio, Mayor Gifford, and Superintendent Kohout for working on that facilities project. I think that's going to be a great asset for the village long term to be able to provide a functional, safe, and modern facility for our services to continue to be offered in the village. So thank you to you.
Departmental reports. Can I have a motion to accept the departmental reports?
I'll move it.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Audit claims. Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
And I'll second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Gray?
Yes.
Trustee Solichak?
Yes.
Trustee Tiberio?
Yes.
Trustee Rizzo?
Yes.
Mayor Gifford?
Yes. Minutes. Approval of the minutes from January 22nd.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from February 18th.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from February 24th.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Approval of the minutes from March 5th special meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from the March 6th meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
New business. Does anybody have any new business for the board?
We just have that the antique store, I believe, is gonna have their grand opening this Sunday, or Saturday, I believe it is. And,
Across the street.
Right, right. And, I guess, the coffee shop has been doing well, and the gift store's been doing well. And, gallery, he's just getting his feet going, and he seems to be doing very good too so far.
That is an impressive place.
Yes, very impressive. He may get into the framing area too, but he's looking at that right now, so he said that might be something that he may be looking at worthwhile for him to do.
Good.
So if I urge everybody to stop down and pay him a visit, I've already been down to 3 stores already, so.
I encourage everybody to walk Mohawk Avenue. It's
Yeah.
getting very interesting. Item 18, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So be it.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.